What's up guys, it's CJ from smartkti.com. Today we're unboxing the HTC EVO 4G LTE Android smartphone, which is available now from Sprint for $200 with a 2-year agreement or $550 outright. Now I've owned the original EVO 4G and the EVO 3D in the past, so it'll be interesting to see how the next generation of the EVO line has evolved. As you may have heard, HTC wasn't thrilled with their 2011 showing, so they made an extra effort in 2012 to concentrate on quality over quantity. So hopefully we'll see that pay off in a device like the EVO 4G LTE. Specs wise, we're looking at a 4.7-inch 720p HD Super LCD display, a 1.5 GHz dual-core Qualcomm Snapdragon S4 processor, an 8 megapixel rear camera, 1.3 megapixel front-facing camera, 1 GB of RAM, 16 GB of internal storage, 4G LTE connectivity, support for Beats Audio, NFC capabilities, and a 2000 mAh battery. It's also running Android 4.0 Ice Cream Sandwich with HTC Sense 4.0 out of the box. I imagine it'll be one of the first HTC devices in the US to get an update to Android 4.1 Jelly Bean as well, although that hasn't been made official yet. So let's go ahead and get to the unboxing. As you can see, the packaging is made out of 100% recyclable material. I believe everything is printed in soy ink as well. Very green of Sprint as usual. So let's go ahead and open the box. Here is the EVO 4G LTE. Pull this out. And my first thoughts when holding the device is, wow, this is actually very thin and light. Feels very good in hand. Now the reason why I mentioned the weight and size of the device is because although HTC is always known for adequate build quality, they do have a reputation of making phones on the thicker and heavier side, but that's changed this year. They're concentrating on competing with their competitors in regards to thickness and weight. So very light and thin. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at the device. I'll go ahead and peel this protective plastic off here. So we'll start up at the top. So we have our earpiece speaker grill. Next to that we have a 1.3 megapixel front-facing camera. Then there's an HTC logo. And if we zoom out, we have that enormous 4.7-inch Super LCD display, and that has a resolution of 720p HD. That's 1280 by 720. So everything should look nice and crisp on the device. Moving on to the bottom here, we have our Android 4.0 Ice Cream Sandwich buttons. Starting from the left, we have back. In the middle, we have home. And on the right, we have our task switcher. Get a closer look at that. If we swing the device down to the bottom, not much here. It looks like we have a microphone, and the rest is relatively flush, although you do see this metal band that goes all the way around the phone. Very nice look there. I like it. It's a nice touch. Makes it look like a nice industrial design. I keep saying nice, but that's the way I feel so far in regards to my first impressions. Very nice. So let's go ahead and go to the right side of the phone. Looks like we have a dedicated shutter key for the camera. I like that. Over here we have our volume up and down rocker. Let's get a little bit closer on that. It's sort of hard to see as it's kind of flush with the black coloring here. Up at the top we have our power key, another microphone, and then a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. On this side, it looks like we have our micro USB charge and sync port. Okay, so flipping over to the back, you may be surprised to find an unconventional design. The bottom half is actually a matte black finish. Feels very good. However, the top half is a glossy black finish. So contrasting design elements there, although there is some familiarity with the red accents here and around the camera. So let's take a closer look at the back. Of course, we have the 8 megapixel camera with LED flash. I've heard good things about this camera, so I'll be sure to test it out and then upload some video and photo samples to smartkti.com. Moving along the bottom, the aforementioned red band here. More on that. It does have some functionality. Below that we have the HTC logo, which looks like it's carved out. I like this much better than the chrome plastic fittings that they used to put on past devices. Those tend to fall off after a year or so of regular wear and tear. But this is much better and looks a little more clean there. Down here we have a subtle Sprint logo, and then below that there's a speaker. Alright, so one thing I have to tell you guys is if you're used to carry around spare batteries to extend the battery life throughout the day, you're going to be a little bit disappointed because it is a non-removable battery in here. You can't remove it, you can't replace it. It's just 2,000 milliamp hours, and once you're done with that, you're going to have to find a charger. However, you can pop off the back, and there is a micro SD card slot. So there is expandable memory. That's a go. Let's close that back up. There we go. Very easy to remove as well. And it's not an unboxing video without some size comparison, so let's start over here on the very left. We have the original HTC EVO 4G. That's 2 years old now. It's hard to believe that much time has passed. Next we have the Samsung Galaxy S2 Epic 4G Touch, and of course here we have the newest of the bunch, the HTC EVO 4G LTE, and then on the very end the Samsung Galaxy Nexus LTE. Now before I get a little bit more intimate with the size comparisons, let me just point out that although all of these are 4G enabled devices, the two on the left are 4G WiMAX, the two on the right are 4G LTE. And what that means is these two devices are sort of outdated in terms of data speeds. They're not going to ever be as fast as these two devices. These are more future-proof. They're capable of connecting to Sprint's new 4G LTE network. You're going to have lightning fast data speeds, and it's going to be more reliable and more consistent. Now, Sprint actually launched the 4G LTE network today, or I guess it would be yesterday, in Georgia, Texas, Missouri, and Kansas. So, although there's only a handful of markets right now, they're going to continue to roll out that network coverage until they cover millions upon millions of Americans by the end of 2012, and that's only going to get better in 2013. So let's move on with the size comparisons. Again, I want to point out that the EVO 4G LTE is actually 0.35 inches thick, and it's 4.7 ounces in weight. So here we have the Epic 4G Touch. You can see it's very similar in regards to the front of the devices when you put it on top of the EVO 4G LTE. If you flip it over on the side, you can see the EVO 4G LTE is a little bit taller, and they're about the same thickness. I don't know the exact number for the Epic 4G Touch. Next we have the Galaxy Nexus. Again, same or similar size. This is of the front of the devices. If you turn it over on the side, you'll be surprised to see that the Galaxy Nexus is actually thicker. So the HTC device is thinner than the Samsung device. Probably wouldn't have thought that this time last year. Next, the original EVO 4G. So you can see the newer EVO 4G LTE dwarfs the 2-year-old device. It's much taller, but you'll be surprised to see it's about the same width. So that's why I can still say that it's comfortable to hold the newer device, even though the screen size is much larger, because you can see that the aspect ratio is stretched upwards. You don't have a wider device though. And then next to each other, you can see the original EVO is much thicker. It's a fat device. Alright, so let me just boot up the EVO 4G LTE, and I'll put that off to the side. You can watch the boot animation and see how long it takes to start up, and we'll bring the box back in, see what else is in here. We have instruction manuals. It looks like the device is already booted up, so very fast. Usual manuals and guides. The charging brick, and then the micro USB charge and sync cable. So the usual stuff. You'll be surprised, or maybe you'll be surprised to see that no in-ear headphones here. Although this device is Beats audio capable, it doesn't include any Beats branded headphones. You might recall that HTC around last year, they started to put out phones which included Beats audio headphones, but they no longer do that with any of their devices. So they decided to scrap that idea, unfortunately, and you're not going to get that with the EVO 4G LTE. But still, very, very solid device, and you will have support for Beats audio as long as you use your own. Alright, so let's zoom in here. Take a little bit closer look here. We have Sense 4.0. Let's swipe around and see how the animations look. Of course, this is running on a Snapdragon S4 processor, so it's very, very speedy. I can't wait to test out some games here. Pull up the app tray, take a look around here. Doesn't look like there's too much Sprint bloatware, which is nice. Alright, let's go back. Just take a look around. Weather. Check out the animation. Close out of there. Let's take a look at the settings menu. Looks like I jumped in there. I like the accordion animation there. smartkeitai.com. And you can see the website renders nicely, very fluid pinch to zoom animations. Of course, I'm running on 3G here, so you're not going to get an idea of how fast LTE speeds are on Sprint. My city doesn't have that yet. Alright guys, so this was the unboxing of the Sprint HTC EVO 4G LTE. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel. More coverage of the device coming soon, including a closer look at the software, gaming performance, and more. Thanks for watching.